Today we're talking about the top 5 most common branding mistakes and how to avoid them. Hello, my name is Shireen Francis and welcome to Personal Brand Boss, where we help you step out of the shadows into the light so you can share your message with confidence. Let's dive into it. The top 5 branding mistakes that people most commonly do. So mistake number 1 is inconsistent branding. This is where you show up in multiple different ways and it doesn't allow us to really connect with one specific thing about you, like one specific reason why. So this is really a problem of your messaging and your vision and why you're doing the thing that you're doing. So what you really need to do is figure out what is my story and what is the message or the specific purpose for why I'm showing up consistently. And why is that important to people? Because the thing is, it's nice that you show up, like, great. Are you gonna make us laugh? Are you gonna teach us something? Are you gonna solve a problem for us? We need to know why we need to subscribe. We need to know what is it about you and why we need to listen. And so if you don't have a clear brand mission, vision, and specifics around the purpose of your brand, then we're just gonna scroll on. Number 2 is still inconsistency in branding, but visually. So maybe you do have a message and you know why you're showing up, but you're showing up in multiple different ways visually. And sometimes it might be a disconnect with your message. So just imagine this. Imagine if some of the most top, the biggest brands and companies in the world, they're very consistent on how they show up. And they show up all the time the same way. Imagine if, McDonald's, everybody knows McDonald's, they're around the world. Imagine if you drove up to a McDonald's and the arches were blue rather than yellow. You wouldn't think it's McDonald's specifically because their arches aren't golden. This is the same thing with our brand. If you are changing things up and the colors and things like that, people won't know it was you. The point is to show up consistently because we have to understand that it has to do with relationships, not just on an emotional level, but even an unconscious level, like a stamp. Like over and over, that's what a brand is a stamp, right? So the more that they see you showing up in a certain way, the more they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that name, or I've heard it a couple of times. You want that to happen for your brand. Because when they walk away at the end of the day and they're coming back for your solution or they're coming back for your product, you want to be top of mind. And so by making that stamp, that impression over time, the same way, they will remember you. Mistake number 3 has to do with remembering who your audience is. And this should have been established in your branding in terms of message and target audience, but you need to keep them in mind at all times. It's not about what you want to tell people all the time. It's what they need to hear and want to hear. And once they've come into your world, then you share more of what you want to give to them. But in order to hook somebody and engage somebody, you have to know what is their psychological state, what are they looking for, what is their personality, what are they attracted to. You got to do that part first, create content to address that part. And then as they come into your world, as they subscribe, as they join your mailing list, whatever it is, then you give them what they need. So first, you give them what they want, and when they come in, then you give them what they need. Let me give you an example of this. I work with a lot of life coaches and they'll be like, my audience is women that really need to focus on their health. And I want them to know more about spirituality and mindset and how that helps them heal something. The problem is most people, when it comes to healing something that's broken, they don't actually default to finding the spiritual root cause. They will go and take the vitamin, get the pill, visit their doctor. That might not work. Then they'll do other things that usually is external. What I find is that life coaches who are very self-aware, very much in tune that the root cause, usually emotionally and spiritually, they will go to the depths of the sea and talk about a lot of like things that are overly spiritualized or overly esoteric that doesn't quite land with their audience. And then they're like, oh, I don't know what this is about, or this is not for me. The problem is that life coach that's marketing spirituality and mindset for health is not gonna land well with their audience, because their audience doesn't even it hasn't even crossed their mind that that's the reason why they're having their issues. So what would you do? You would speak to where they are. You would speak to the fact that, hey, the vitamins you're doing is not working, or hey, you've tried this and this solution. Here's why it's not working. You would first speak to where they are. Once you've piqued interest, then you could teach them more about the depths of the transformation that you can have for them. So you gotta pay attention to your audience, know your audience. Mistake number 4 has to do with just doing the things by yourself that you shouldn't do. Like, for example, if you know you're not good at design, don't try to build your own website. And don't even try to build your own website without getting feedback, right? If you are, say, a service professional and you want to charge a certain amount an hour, let's say $200 an hour, or maybe you're selling like $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 programs, and your marketing, design, brand, website doesn't reflect that, it's gonna be a hard sell, because people are gonna look at it like you're an amateur. They might feel like you're unprofessional. Like, these are all unconscious. So don't do the things you don't know how to do. If you don't know how to build websites, design things, don't do it. Hire somebody. If you're not really the best writer, don't just default to just ChatGPT. You could use it. I use AI tools, but make sure you're having a second opinion, someone that's good at doing these things supporting you. And number 5, biggest mistake is failing to monitor your brand and looking at your analytics. This is huge. I find that most businesses don't look at their analytics. They're not looking at how their content is being reciprocated. Your analytics, in whatever platform you're using, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, there is a way for you to look back and see how that content is performing. Your mailing list, how many people are opening your emails? Are you even doing these things? If you're not, then you gotta reach out so we can hook you up and make sure you have all the things in place to market yourself. But if you already are marketing yourself and you're not checking and you're not looking at the feedback and you're not monitoring what is the response to your branding, then that means you're speaking in an empty chamber. That means you're just speaking and you're not really interacting to see how people are receiving what you have to say. I love analytics. I love the data. I love all of these things because it informs your next move. Right? You might have sketched out a plan for a year, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it might be, but how do you know what to do after you've implemented something? How do you know what you just did worked, right? You gotta measure that. And this is gonna inform what you do next time so that you can be better and continue to get better over and over with time. Guys, I can help you with the branding and the messaging. I could help you with the look. I could help you with the website. I could help you with the marketing and taking the most effective steps. If you need any help with all of these things, please reach out. Thanks so much for watching. If you got any value out of this video, help a sister out, subscribe, put your notification bell on so you know when we launch the next video, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.